Appreciate it. I'm David Beckley. Kind of weird up here speaking today on what I'm speaking on. I've been up here several times, and I've always talked about base running or infield play or something to do with the game. A little bit about me. I spent the last 16 years at the Citadel. Had a good run at it, but we fell on hard times. Our whole staff was let go, and had to reinvent myself a little bit. Really scary moment in my life, didn't know what to do. It's really scary when you know you belong on the field, you know you belong in the game, and when you start thinking about having to sit behind the desk or whatever, because I wasn't going to start over in college baseball again. 16 years at the age of 42. I just didn't want to do it to my family. And so I started thinking about what am I good at. And I played for Coach Jordan, who, really, it aggravated me a lot, but he let me I did a lot. I did a lot of behind the scene things at the Citadel, and I'm grateful for it now. A lot of academic stuff, a lot of fundraising stuff, obviously all the recruiting stuff. So I'm thankful now because he prepared me. And I thought I was getting prepared to be a head coach, but that didn't work out. That wasn't in the plans. So I started thinking about what am I good at and started thinking about all the things that I was prepared to do. And I started a new company called E4 Consultants. And let me first say it is not a recruiting service. Okay, I was a college coach, and I think maybe there's some really good ones, and I'm not trying to talk trash about anything like that, but I am not that. As a college coach, a lot of times you get those emails and you just delete them. We're going to recruit the guys that we like, the guys that we see. We don't need a whole lot of help from an outside recruiting service sending us a video. And so I am not that. What I am is pretty much think of me as like a guidance counselor for a baseball program. Guidance counselors, there's some great ones, and if I offend anyone, I'm sorry. Your wife may be one, you may be one. You may help out in that category, but in my experience at the Citadel, I didn't come across many good ones. They wear a lot of hats in the school, and athletics is not on the top of their priority. And so I decided to try to make a go at it, try to make a career, and started a consulting service with it. And that's where I am today. The NCAA, they changed their standards 2 years ago, and they're really confusing. It's an all-time high on what your athletes are held to if they want to be eligible to play. I say Division I baseball, it's really, I hold all of our clients to D1 standards because if you can be eligible to play D1, and that's their goal anyway, if you're eligible to play D1, you'll be eligible for any other level of baseball. Or, this is not just baseball, it's all sports, any NCAA sport. So they changed their standards. They're an all-time high. And I'm not sure, I don't really know your knowledge level of this, so I'm going to be basic here, and I hope I don't offend you. The NCAA, they judge you on 16 core courses, okay? 16 core courses. That means you got to have 4 English courses, and the core courses, 4 English, 3 math, and they have to be Algebra 1 or higher, 2 sciences, 1 additional English, math, or science, 2 social studies, and then 4 other additional core courses, which are usually like foreign language, more social studies, or it can be any of the above. So 16 core courses that you're judged on. All right? Here's where the new standards are. That's always kind of been that way. The new standards are by the start of your 7th semester, which is your senior year, you must have completed 10 core courses. If let's say you had 9, you are ineligible to play as a college freshman. So you have to have 10 core courses completed. 7 of those 10 have to be English, math, or science classes. let's say you had 6. You can't play as a college freshman. All right? So that's, then they lock it in. Okay? Or they're going to use those 10 classes as part of your 16 classes that get judged by the NCAA. All right? So it's really, it's pretty confusing. You can really screw up early in your career. You know, a lot of kids have no idea in the 9th grade, in the 10th grade, anything about this. And they screw up. They screw up. So it's very important. You need to treat your 9th graders. You need to meet with them. You need to let them know. Your young guys, they need to treat themselves like they're a prospect so they don't screw themselves before it's too late. The 2.30 GPA, that's new. It used to just be 2.0. All right? If you don't have a 2.30 GPA or better in your core courses, you cannot play as a college freshman. All right? Let's say you could have a 1600 perfect score on your SAT, but you had a 2.29 GPA, you're going to be considered an academic redshirt, and you cannot play as a freshman. So it's very important. You got to have above a 2.3. All right, now I'm talking about these standards. I'm sure you do know this, but your kids need to know those are the minimum. That might not get them into college, but that might get them able to play. But if they wanted to come to the Citadel, well, they needed to have at least a 950 on the SAT. You know, so you need to make sure they know that and are aware of that. But those are just the minimum. To complicate things, well, let me explain. There's a sliding scale. Again, I know most of you know this, but maybe you don't. There's a sliding scale. The sliding scale determines, you know, if you're going to be a qualifier, an academic redshirt, or a non-qualifier. The sliding scale is this. The higher your GPA, the lower you can have on the SAT or ACT. The higher your SAT or ACT is, the lower your GPA can be. And as long as they meet what the NCAA standards are, you're good. All right? So everybody just always, they see their GPA and they go look and they see what SAT score do I need. They go and they look at the sliding scale chart. Well, now there's a new SAT. Now, if you don't hear anything in here today, listen to this, please. Because it's hurting kids. The new SAT is easier than the old one. Okay? So if you were to go right now and you say, what does the NCAA say I have to be a D1 qualifier, it's going to say a 2.30 and a 900 SAT. Okay? But the new SAT is easier than the old SAT. They haven't came out with a new sliding scale. So the truth is, you got to look at what's called an SAT concordance table, and you need a 980. Okay? So if your kids, to be eligible, they need a 2.3 and a 980. It's not a 900. That's the old SAT. There's a new SAT. So, man, nobody knows. And I'm not trying to, I don't see Hux in here. Hux is as good as there is. He does as much as you can do for his players. And he called me the other day, and he didn't know about that. It made me feel good, because that guy gets after it. So that's very common problems happen right now. So SAT concordance table. The reason the NCAA changed is to better prepare students for college. So back in the day, when I'm recruiting, I would see a kid, maybe he's a junior, maybe he's even a first semester senior, and I'm like, I love this kid. Back in the day, I'd say, give me your transcript, and he could be way off course, and I'm like, hey, we got to take online courses. We're going to cram. We're going to take 6 core courses in your second semester senior year. And so the NCAA caught on because everybody was doing that. You had kids taking Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 at the same time. You had kids taking English 3 and English 4 at the same time. So the NCAA caught on to that, and they don't allow you to do it anymore. So that's the reason that they make sure that you have a certain amount by your senior year, and then they kind of lock them in. Again, starts in the 9th grade. Okay, starts in the 9th grade. You need to know, and your players need to know, your high school calculates your GPA differently than the NCAA does. So if you get a 79, the high school calculates that as a 2.9. An 85 is a 3.5. An 89, 3.9. But the NCAA, they just deal in whole numbers. Okay? So a 79 is not a 2.9, it's a 2.0. Even though it's 1 point from B, it's a 2.0. And a 2.0 is ineligible. Okay? So your players need to know that. Now they will accept honors and AP as long as your school makes sure and reports that to the NCAA, and I'll explain that in a second. So that's really important. I worked at camp last week, 2 weeks ago, for the Diamond Dogs, and I met and talked with about 100 kids. What do you say, Matt? About 100 kids there, maybe more. And I was a station talking about this stuff, educating them, and I asked every station, can y'all explain to me, these are all high school kids, can you please explain to me the new rules that the NCAA has academically? And not one person knew it, or didn't speak up. All right, so, man, that's scary, okay? And so I don't know what you guys know. So I promise you, it can lead to problems, okay? It can lead to problems. So here's how you can help them, okay? If you go to eligibilitycenter.org, all right, and there's a thing that says list of NCAA courses, okay? Then they're going to ask you to type in your high school name and the state that it's in. You find it, you click on it. Camden High School, all right? Print it off. It is the master sheet for the NCAA. That is what the Eligibility Center goes by, okay? It's their master sheet. On that, the first things you need to check is our grading scale correct? You'll be surprised, okay? Okay, is my grading scale correct? Because there's been a grading scale change. I think our high school seniors are the last class right now that will deal with that 7-point scale. So what I mean by that is if I'm a college coach and I'm doing their transcript, when they took a class as a freshman, a 90 was a B. I got to count it as a B because when they were a freshman, it was a B. But then when they were a sophomore, 90 is an A. So that is the master sheet. There's a little bit of confusion. Hopefully next year we'll be out of that. All right? So grading scale, you need to check and make sure they have honors and AP on there. Honors in our state is worth 0.5 points, and an AP class is worth 1 whole point. So if you get a B in an AP class, it's really an A. If you get a B in an honors class, instead of 3.0, it's 3.5. That you can help them. Check their classes. All right? Every class in your school that is approved by the NCAA is on that sheet. Okay? Check them. Don't let them take bullcrap classes. All right? Check them. If it's not on there, you need to check with your guidance counselor and say, this should be a core course. And they might say, no, the NCAA denied it. Okay? Or they might forgot. I'm telling you, I deal with guidance counselors a lot, and it's wishy-washy. Okay? So check that. That's how you can help them, and you can lead them in the right path. I'm going to tell you a quick story or two, and this is really how I started this business. This is a while ago. I think it was 2009. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm recruiting. I'm shitting because I got misled, and I'm in a bad field, in a bad spot, and I drove for 4 hours, and I'm not happy. And then something told me, stick around. Don't go home, stick around. Well, I'm behind home plate. I got my radar gun, and out runs this tall, lanky kid, and he's throwing the pee out of it. And here comes the dad, comes over, and he's like, hey, what's he throwing? I'm like, good, he's 89, 90, I love him, he's awesome. He goes, well, I'm his dad, where are you from? I'm like, the Citadel. He's like, boy, I wish my son would go to the Citadel. I'm like, you serious? Because I'd love to have him. He goes, Coach, every school in the country in Florida has been here to see him. Florida, Florida State, all of them. And they all say he's got to go to junior college. He's got like a 1A, but he did do good on his SAT. So I'm like, man, he's still got his whole senior year. If you're serious, can you send me his transcript? He's like, sure. So I talked to the boy on the phone, and I talked to the dad, and they were serious. They had genuine interest. And I got his, first thing I did, I got his transcript, and I did that same thing what I just told you about doing. And sure enough, his school did not report anything about honors. Well, he took 5 honors classes. So he went from a 1, I told the lady, I'm like, hey, this is what you have to do or the NCAA won't count it. She didn't believe me. I'm like, I promise you, you have to report it. You report it. Look what's going to happen for this kid. He went from a 1A to a 2-4, and I got him. And he's in the big leagues right now, and his name is Michael Clevenger. He's the long-haired dude with the Cleveland Indians, and I got him. And everybody in the country thought I was cheap. Just did it better, was more thorough. Same year, another kid, shortstop from Jacksonville, same thing, 1-8. Nobody's recruiting him. Everybody's saying he's got to go to junior college. I get his transcript. I call his school because, again, there's nothing on there. I call her and I'm like, hey, do y'all not accept honors at your school? And she's like, Coach Beckley, every class in this entire school is honors. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. And that's over. What happened? She started crying. They had 3 football players the year before that had offers from Florida, Florida State, Miami, but they barely were ineligible. But if you would have had that fixed, they're easily eligible and chasing their dream at their school of their dream. And that's the stuff that we're doing, okay? That's the stuff that's behind the scenes that I'm doing. When I fix a kid or when I fix a school, it's not fixing one person. It's fixing everyone in that school, okay? Any athlete in that school. The Diamond Devils is my #1 client. I am basically like their guidance counselor, and it's 125 kids, and I help them with this process. I educate them. I do all their transcript work, and I make sure they're on course and all that. So I've had 46% of them that I've had to call their guidance counselor and fix stuff at their school. And when I fix stuff at their school, like I said, it's just not helping them. It's helping every kid. All right? One kid was from Georgia. All 8 high schools, and there were 7 of the 8 high schools in the whole district were reporting stuff wrong to the NCAA, and we fixed it. Called the school district office and told him, and he's like, man, thank you so much. Thank you so much for not blabbing us out on Twitter and making us look bad, and we'll get it fixed. And so that's some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that we're doing, and this is real stuff. It's not, eyewash. We're helping kids. So, last couple things. Make sure, try to get your kids signed up with the Eligibility Center. I would do it as a sophomore. It costs like $90 though, but if you think they have a shot to play Division I or Division II, get them to sign up with the Eligibility Center. Then your guidance counselor, they get a report from the NCAA, like a reminder, that says, hey, check and make sure they're uploading transcripts from people that have registered with the NCAA Eligibility Center. And if your kids haven't registered, they can't upload their transcripts. So it's on, the kids got to do it first. And then the guidance counselor's got to do their job. And that'll help get things started, and the tracking becomes easier. One more thing. This is something that I may do. My son is real young. He is a real young 8th grader. He just turned 13, and I was dumb. I'm a coach. Why would I do that? But it's too late now for me to hold him back. And just wanted you to know, in case you didn't, that every kid, every athlete has what's called a gap year. When you graduate from high school, every kid has 1 year before their clock starts. So, for example, my son, most people take that gap year to try to like get their SAT or ACT score better. And my son may be doing that too. But if you're like, for example, my son, if he's not ready to play college baseball, I may be able to use that year to, get him bigger, faster, stronger. And you're allowed to take an extra course during that time as well that can still help that 16 core courses. A lot of people don't know about that gap year. If one of your athletes has a learning disability and is diagnosed, there are a lot of things that you can do to help him. He can take 3 courses after graduation, like in the summer, that can go back and help his NCAA GPA. Everybody's allowed 1 after graduation, everyone. It can't affect those 10 that get locked in, but it can affect the other 6. But if you have a kid that has a learning disability and is diagnosed, they can take up to 3. And so, real quick, listen to this. I was thinking about this earlier, how blessed I am. Every one of these guys is in a Hall of Fame or will be, that I've had the fortune to either be coached by or coach with. Fred Jordan, John Chalice, will be in the Hall of Fame, my brother, Denny Beckley. Dan McDonald, the head coach at Louisville, he's the first $1 million coach in D1 baseball, how about that? Chris Lamonis, he's now the head coach at Mississippi State. Tom Hatley, that was my first coaching job. Ray Stackley, Football Hall of Fame. Jerry Brown, Football Hall of Fame. Britt Reams is in the Hall of Fame he pitched in the big leagues, and we played and coached together. And then I played with Mike Darnell, who's going to be in the Hall of Fame, because that guy won the state championship every year. So I'm very blessed, and life threw me a little curveball, but I'm all right. I'm out there today, and I started a fundraising company, and I'm going to say something real quick about that. It is very much like some of the online companies that you see, but I'm trying to bring some ethics back to fundraising for our youth, and so we're going to do a good job. We're going to raise money for you, but we're also, anyone that chooses to use my company has to believe in giving back. And what we're doing is we're partnering with charities. And so let's say Denny's doing one. Camden High School Baseball, at the end of their fundraising campaign, they have chosen to donate 5% to a charity at the end of the fundraising campaign. And we're going to promote that. It's a good look for you. It's a good look for anyone. And people are more apt to donate knowing that your kids aren't just asking for a handout and they're going to do something good. They're going to pay it forward to a good cause. Or you can choose another model, and that is you keep that 5%, and your team does an active community service as a way to pay it forward and say thank you to the community for sponsoring. But I just feel it's a better model for our youth. They're not walking door to door asking for money. It's all pretty much online, and I think it's going to be good stuff. It's called Empower 6, and I'm excited about it. It's launching really this week. So, but hey, I appreciate the time, and thank you very much.